Hello, YouTube Internet. The greatest danger to the owners is not the dissemination of truth, all the information that we are privy to now through this medium, this magnificent medium like YouTube and all the other alternate news sites and whatever that is that comes through the digital airwaves. The greatest danger to the owners is not the dissemination of truth, but the possibility at this time, maybe even at times in the past, we were close to actually becoming our true selves. And there are going to be what has been occurring in the last months is the pedophile is increasing, or the sexual misconduct among people that are running the front people, like the Charlie Rose types who get exposed for their sexual misconduct. That's a nice way of putting it. Abusive bastard, taking advantage of his position. Sexual misconduct. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. These are going to, they're going to be victims that are going to fall by the wayside as truth becomes part of our consciousness, our awareness. But the greatest danger is not revelations, because they'll just sacrifice some, you know, stop falling off. My dreaded red, I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's my replacement of the nuclear sign because I love the color yellow, and I decided to make it black and red rather than yellow, which I love. They hijacked the color yellow. And what I'm going to say in this, I'm going to keep this a brief dissertation, and I create context. When I make my videos, my channel is not about giving you information, especially the truth, which I have always said is a moving target. Will always be a moving target, because truth is not a reality in the sense of something fixed, something that we would consider to be the same everywhere. It's like the ideas of the laws of physics are being dismantled. The laws, what we understand to be the laws governing all existence in a physical sense, is being dismantled. The idea of quantum mechanics, which will be eclipsed as well as we proceed through this experience. These truths will be eclipsed. The idea of the omnipotent being, which is something that our religions have hijacked and taken upon themselves to interpret, will all be eclipsed, because these are notions that come from minds, deranged minds that are actually more interested in self-gratification and all the usual suspects of misdeeds that we encounter in our day-to-day lives, in our collective lives, in a larger context, the suffering, the obstruction. In essence, suffering is an obstruction to becoming our true selves. As long as we are not living our true selves, as in our calling. I say this on my videos quite often. I refer to a calling, that unless we live our true nature, we're going to suffer. And this is always manipulated. This is something that happens. I don't have an answer for this, because maybe we need to go through this idea of suffering. But my idea, my channel, is not something where I expose the misdeeds of others, but where I am communicating something about myself, my nature, who I am. This is something that is very important for me to see in other people that are presenting on YouTube. Show me yourself. Show me your nature. And to some extent, you can see it in my work. I'm working on my nuclear scientists. There is one meditating on a, what is that, on some sort of a round wheel. I'm putting them on wheels, and the guy next to him is on a skateboard. And these are reflections of my inner self as interpretations. Obviously, they're images, they're symbols, but they reflect something about my inner nature. Now, my commentary has always been to create context, and I've been quite distressed about the idea that with all this magnificent truth and information coming out, it doesn't seem to make much of a difference to people in a day-to-day sense. Why is that? Why is that? Why isn't it that when, people saying, "Oh, wake up, I'm awake," and nothing seems to change? Why is that? Why is it that somehow with our notion that by presenting something to you that is of absolute truth, reality, nothing seems to change? Like the idea that a nuclear plant in Japan called Fukushima blew up, 3 full core meltdowns of reactors and fuel pools missing, with toxic materials released into this existence, which has happened over 70, 80 years. The releases have been monumental, but this was like the jewel in the crown in the last 6 and some almost 7 years. Why does this not hit the frontal lobe? It's because this is what I'm saying, that the deceit isn't our ability to function within the truth, but not living our true selves. Think about it. Think about it. Like all the commentators on YouTube, and I come across really good ones. Like I came across another one, this Quantum of Conscience. Love his title, love his icon. Yes, Quantum of Conscience guy. And he makes a lot of sense. He makes a lot of sense. And people that comment reflecting the external world with their words. But as long as we are not physically that what we represent, meaning our words, how is it that we come closer to our nature by representing ourselves? Obviously, the words lead to action. So if I represent something, I give you the information about something out there, how does that reflect my true nature? By revealing something to you, my opinion about anything, even Fukushima, it's my opinion. How is it that I actually reflect my true self in terms of that which I believe or think or whatever? It's in my work. It's what I do, how I relate to people in a day-to-day sense. And I've been reiterating this over and over, and I call it conscience, to live within conscience, not consciousness, which is everything. The idea of deceit is not that which happens outside of us, but that which happens inside of us. And every person is responsible for their own life on a level of living their true nature. And we learn, we go through this. It is a long-lasting process. I've been making paintings for over 45 years. It's more than 45 years when I started to get an inkling of the potential within this format of producing something of myself, to externalize something of myself, which would have an impact on the way I am as a person, and maybe even sometimes other people. There's many of my paintings are out in the world. People have bought them. I have given them to people. They have them on their walls, and maybe it's influencing them in some positive way, in some good way. So this reminder, I'm reminding myself that we are. It's a very subtle point. This is the idea that living in deceit, no matter what kind of truth you are privy to, living in deceit means that we are not living our true selves. We physically are that what we represent in our words through our actions. And until we get to that stage, no matter how much all is revealed, the owners are chuckling, they're smiling, they're laughing. They're laughing with all the revelations coming out. They'll sacrifice their usual types, the Charlie Rose types, the people that get exposed, the Epsteins, the Weinsteins, why are they all Steins? All these people are going to be sacrificed because they're just pawns in a game for some very dark entities that are behind everything. And it goes way back. I've said this. It goes way back to the idea of the divine right of kings. Somebody that in history appears to have emulated this concept beautifully was Akhenaten, who became the direct liaison between humanity and the omnipotent being. There were all the priests were actually quite threatened. He got rid, he chopped their heads off because he couldn't have any competition of a liaison between the omnipotent being and the human race. And now the liaison for a lot of people on YouTube is the truth. The truth is the liaison between us and the omnipotent being. And it's the biggest mistake you could make because truth is not absolute. It's a moving target. And what is not a moving target is what comes from our inner world. And our external world will change drastically once we no longer live in the deceit. The deceit which is not replaced by the truth. I've been trying to say this. I'm not sure if I'm actually making sense in this. It's something that I've understood through my own breakthrough. I've talked about it. If you go into my videos and you write in breakthrough, you'll understand what it is in my expression of that inner self that has come to fruition in my work that makes a lot of sense, obviously makes sense to me. There were things I was doing that, and still now that I'm doing, I don't truly understand, but I'm in touch with something. I trust parts of myself that allow me to move forward into a world that I want this world to be a better place than when I came. And people, I'm telling you, the truth isn't going to set you free. It's the deception, the self-deception that we live in until we physically become that, what we represent. And this goes back to some studying I did of scriptures and interpretations of scriptures. And you have in the Hebrew alphabet, the Aut. An Autiyat is a single letter. And for example, the letters are written in a certain way that are very symbolic in a, they have like the Aleph symbol is like a little X feeling thing with a hammer, like it's hammering itself. The Aleph, the 1, it also is a number. These were revelations to me from the point of view that language, it's still a language, but it physically, this is difficult to understand, it physically represented that, what it is. Meaning that it's not a letter, like Shakespeare said, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. That you write rose with a rose. Do you see what I'm saying? That the rose itself is the representative of itself as a letter. Now, you can't really do this in the sense of communication. We can't sort of well, maybe we could. I don't know how that would work. Probably more like on the telepathic level, we could actually represent ourselves more directly. We use an intermediary. We use words and letters, which are ultimately very deceptive or have always been used to deceive. But what I'm trying to communicate, that we're not going to make any difference with all the truth in the world. You can reveal all the misdeeds of all these bastards that are now getting caught. We're going through a phase of people who are going to be exposed for their misdeeds because there is some kind of bloodletting going on right now, and it'll ratchet up more over the next years. It'll ratchet up more, and the way it's going to ratchet up, what I have said, is the cancers will level the playing field completely ultimately. It's not all the other realities that we'd like to impose, the money reality, the Bitcoin madness, people that still think Bitcoin is actually something that is arbitrarily that came in, and it's a revelation about our freedom in terms of money. What a bunch of hooey that is. Bitcoin is a vehicle to entrap everyone in digitalizing our lives. Not that it isn't already. I mean, you know, you're using plastic, you're using all the kind of non-monetary, I mean, money in itself is a deception, but at least there was some kind of physical reality to the idea of money, and countries now are eliminating currencies like money, paper money. Hold on to your paper money as long as you can. If you digitalize reality, you are AI. We become AI. That's how I see it now. And Bitcoin is the foremost aspect of this on the money side, but it represents the AI that is taking over. And we can't afford to do that because it is one more step removed from our true nature. Not that there aren't many others. So anyway, I do my best. I'm working on my stuff, and I'm going to be in another show, another group show. I've been in several group shows, and I will have a show in the spring. And I'm hoping what I'm understanding about myself in terms of my work and promoting. Here's another, this is very important for people to realize. The art, the people that are in the public domain are all promoted. They're promoted for a reason. There is no coincidence why a person, even on a scaling down, maybe not on a really local level, but as you get into the public eye, this is because people, it's not that they don't have gifts and talents, but they're promoted. They're promoted for a reason, because they propagate something within the consciousness of the general deception. You need to be promoted in order to have a voice. Now, these people who could have a voice actually are zipper lips. They don't say a thing. They just hopefully make their money and sit on the beach and sipping pina coladas and having their urges satisfied. And this is not the nature of my being. That the reason I understand my work, and many other artists who are quality work, magnificent work, people producing their inner, their true selves, their higher selves, not just their true selves. It's like I mentioned about Francis Bacon. This guy was a miscreant. He had a horrible childhood, and he was so promoted as a beautiful artist. He was a clever deceiver. He was incredible. He actually presented what I said, the lowest part of ourselves, in a very, what is that? It was quite idiosyncratic. The distortions that he used in order to attract us to him was very clever. And the people that run the joint, like Frank Lloyd of Marlborough Galleries, check this out, he ran him. He ran him like he was like on the end of a string, and Frank Lloyd embezzled the Rothko, what is that? The legacy of Rothko. Frank Lloyd tried to steal after Rothko killed himself. Frank Lloyd tried to go in and steal all the work so he could have more wealth, I guess, whatever. But the point is that the reason people are in the public eye is because they're promoted. So unless some people of conscience begin to feel that they want to help people like me and people like me and others to put them into the public, this is what we need. We need to have artists of conscience being promoted, which isn't happening, which makes sense, actually. This culture of death doesn't want to have anything to do with artists and people of conscience. Did I cover everything? Yeah, I think I did. So the greatest danger to the owners is not the dissemination of truth, but becoming our true selves. And there goes my dreaded red. I better stop.
The entertainment factor in your life is extremely big. You should have been an actor. I don't know why you missed the boat and you became a bloody painter for 45 years. I mean, what's the, you know, can you turn sideways, please, so I can... Okay, thank you.